there the street organs were out on the streets again.
Yes.
Not too many, because an awful lot of work, you know, to put them together. This particular street organ was 35 years in pieces in different attics and basements. The man that wanted to make the street organ in one piece again was a young, gifted guy and grandson from a very, very known family that makes street organs and restore them. And he did, let's say, maybe about 5-6 years working on it to get the street organ back.
Wow.
And then it was finished. And the coincidence was that I was in the Netherlands looking for a street organ to buy for my husband. It was not for sale. He wanted to show it to me, but he don't want to sell it, didn't want to sell it. So I told him, I said, well, it will be in a good family because I play accordion on met both sides of buttons. My husband is crazy about the street organ, really, because we always admire that instrument. And he said, no, I don't want to sell it, no. He said, my grandfather sold a street organ, you know, to people, and he always felt sorry when he saw it somewhere in the street. He said, no, we like to keep it, I like to keep it. Maybe if it goes to America, he said, maybe then I will sell it. I said, but I live in America. He said, I don't believe you. You don't speak American accent at all. I said, but I really. So I show him my license, you know, my driving license. And he said, well, he said, maybe, he said, if it is really true, I have to think about it. I said, my husband is coming also later. I said, maybe later in the year. I said, please think about it. I don't even want to know how much you want for it, but think about it. You will sell it to him, I know for 100%. And make a long story short, it came to the United States in a big container.
Let me ask a follow-up question to that. Is why the fact that it was coming to America? Why did that melt his heart? How did that change his mind? Did he think it was?
My husband promised him he can come anytime to the United States, and my wife take care of your whole family. And he did.
For vacations.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. And he took you up on that?
Of course.
Yeah.
A couple of months later, when the street organ was here, it had to be retuned, you know, because it was off-tuned.
Yeah.
So he called him and he said, Gerhard, he said, if you want to come, he said, take your wife and your child. He said, you can stay so long you want. He said, because I need a tuning and I pay you for it. He said, and I will pay also your fares, right? He said, but my wife have one thing. He said, if you can make some signs outside on her boutique, met similar ladies, he said, then she will be happy, I'm happy, and you will be happy. And he did, and he stayed here at least 4 weeks. Yeah.
When I was driving up the road to your house, one of the ways I could instantly tell it was your place was because of the
It became almost
painting.
a street organ.
Yeah. Johanna, how did you go about restoring your street organ? What were the steps involved? For example, the cabinet and the works. I imagine it was quite a production to bring this up to snuff.
It is. The cabinet is not really a big thing. You know, we keep it nice and it's always in storage. Most of the time the same temperature. But the mechanical part had last year a major problem. The hoses and the pipes, they all connected. And it needs at least once in the 3 years a major makeup, not a tuning, let's say that. And then they take care of it, like your car, you know, they look at all the stuff. It didn't work anymore. It was making sounds like, oh, woo, woo, and that was it. And there was no melody anymore. So I had to call Gerhard. And he said, what do you did with it? I said, I don't know, it is completely, it don't work anymore. Can you come over? Because I had to do 2-day affair in, you know, a couple of weeks later.
Oh, Victorian days.
Yes, Victorian days. So he came and, well, I tell you, it was like I got a lecture. He said, it is because of you, Johanna. You don't take good care of it. You have to play it at least every week to let it run, get the air through it. He said, and I have to take a lot of things apart and I will get it back in time. And he worked now, I think, till 10 days in a row, from the morning, early in the morning to late at night, took it apart, cleaned it all, tuned everything, put it back together. And every time when I came back from my work, he had something done. I said, do you think that it will work at the Victorian days? He said, It will work. And it did. And then he told me that when my husband passed away 7 years ago, that a street organ, he said, you have to realize, a street organ, whatever it is, he said, but a street organ, have a soul. He said, and the soul was missing Tom, because you don't take care of it. I said, I do. I said, no, you don't. He said, so I will tell you, it is tuned. I put some violins in it. Can you believe it? Like you said, like this now. He put a violin sound in it. He said, and if you don't feel that and you don't hear the violins there, he said, then you have to make yourself trained for that. So I did. And it is true. After a few times when I listened to it, I said, yeah, the violins, they're playing well. That is the soul. But, you know, what Gerard told me.
That's really interesting. The fact is, you have to play it at least once a week.
At least once a week.
Otherwise, it gets rusty.
And it gets the air in it, and it gets damp. You know, it gets damp. And then it is inside, it is all natural.